What it means to live in a very superficial world, when we are blinded by the illusion of perfection, when we feel disconnected from our true selves and who we are, when we are trying to obtain a certain type of image instead of becoming who we really should be, not understanding that being authentic is where the true depth is inside of your soul. We live in a world where people are obsessed with appearances, where validation often comes from screens instead of souls. Everyone wants to look like they're winning. Everyone wants to look like they're on top, even when they're breaking in the inside. But people are pulling on a facade. Social media has turned life into a highlight reel, and we've been blinded and mistaken by filters for fulfillment. So let's really talk about it. Let's really talk about how the superficial world have lost a lot of people with who they really are. They are no longer operating in a space of being authentic. They're not operating in a space of true depth. They are operating in a space of trying to uphold a certain type of image. They're living in a false reality. So the first things first, let's talk and say how perfectionism has played a part. The illusion of being perfect. We built a culture where people chase images. People chase this influence and not purpose. People care more about the likes and the followers instead of building genuine connection. We measure our self-worth by what's seen on the outside instead what is felt on the inside. People spend more time curating their lives than living them, recording every little second of their life. And sometimes it leaves people feeling empty behind the scenes, compare themselves to illusions that aren't even real. People are constantly living in a comparison. When the thief of joy is comparison. People are constantly watching other people's lifestyles and thinking that's the way that they should live. People are so fascinated with what they see by, people, what they see on Instagram, what they see on TikTok, the bags, the money, the cars, the clothes, the popularity, and all of that is okay, but that's not part of the soul. You can't take that things with you. That doesn't bring you true happiness and your purpose. It might bring you a little, it might bring you some type of okay, because you're able to maybe look a certain way and buy certain things. But let's be honest, it doesn't bring true, genuine happiness, because we can say that there's a lot of people who have the fame, the fortune, who have the money, who have the popularity, but behind closed doors, their soul is broken. They're not truly genuine happy. And then it's not your peace is not being protected. Living in a superficial world, you're constantly in comparison. You're constantly looking at yourself through other people's life and their reality and not your own. And that's something that we really need to understand. So from a psychological perspective, when we are in this superficial mindset, the mind gets easily manipulated. It's a trap that feeds the insecurities while killing the part of you that is needed to be authentic. We start performing, changing ourselves to match the world's version of beautiful, the world's version of what success looks like. or even the word valuable. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, what is beautiful to you? What does success looks like to you? You can't think that match your life and match your life to someone else's, because you're gonna always be in. Oh my goodness, this is always gonna put you at a rat race. Like, it's always gonna put you behind. When we are in this toxic mindset, it keeps people feeling stuck. There's no growth, there's no elevation at all, because your mind is constantly being manipulated by needing a sense of belonging. Now we're going to speak on a spiritual aspect of this, because we always got to bring in and talk about how, on a spiritual level, how this affects a person. So spiritually, when you're living superficially, it disconnects you from your truth. It disconnects you from who God had created you to be. When you're focused on how you look, you forget every good quality of yourself. Women are being compared to what they see from the models, the Instagram girls, the influencers, the rap girlies, everything. People, we have like a lot of young girls who follow a lot of these influencers and follow a lot of these reality show stars, and they look at these girls and say, hey, I want a body like this. I want my face look like this, and there's nothing wrong with enhancements. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to knock any enhancements, but when you are doing it in a space of looking like another person or mocking what you see, then that becomes a problem. If you're going to do to any enhancements, do it for yourself, not do it because you are seeking validation, because you want a certain type of look. But that is where a lot of these people are being compared to. They're being compared to other people because they want to look a certain way. And it's taking a lot of women from who they really are. Is allowing you to try to appease the audience that is really probably not even paying attention. Superficial feeds the ego. Superficiality feeds the ego, and it starves the soul. That's why people who seem to have it all often feel the most lost. They're often feeling very broken and hurt inside, because the world can only satisfy the surface and not the spirit. You find peace when you stop trying to perform and look and do. When you stop needing validation, you start living your truth. You choosing depth over, attention. You're choosing character over imagery. The world might not always applaud, people who are living their truth, or applaud people who are being authentic, but your soul will. And you have to understand too that you're not going to always be this person. We have to understand that one day we're going to get older. We're going to grow, right? That's just what it is. We're going to age every year. And so we can't think that it's okay to have be trapped in the same type of mindset, or think that we're going to look the same type of body. Like, one day we're all going to change. Our bodies changing, our minds are changing. Don't let the world convince you to shrink yourself so you can be accepted or for more likes. And that's something that we really, 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 really have to think about. We have to really think about all of this. All of this, so much emptiness when it comes to trying to withhold yourself from the world and be something that you really are not, really is not you. Craving acceptance. That's part of human nature. But you have to understand that what it really do to you. We can't pretend and we can't dim our light to try to be something that we're not. Like even in a dating world, we have this thing where people are constantly uploading, and we seeing, men seeing so many beautiful women, women seeing so many attractive men, and everybody is just like, it's like a kid in a candy store. I'm having access to all of these different type of people all across the world. You can get on a dating app and you will be linked to people in a different country. You can be linked to people in different states. I mean, so it has become a little bit harder to really meet genuine people because people can just lie about who they are. People in a press of a button say, I'm this person, and get catfish. It's so harder. It's really, really hard versus just being able to just get out. And we all know most people, the average adult, has social media. Most people have some type of form of social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. So we have to understand where all of this comes from. A lot of this is distractions. And you have to know how to eliminate certain distractions and not think that what I see on this reality what I see in this part of that reality is not always factual. It's more of an illusion. More of an illusion. Your value was never meant to be measured by visibility. Never. Being real, being genuine, staying grounded, not needing to crave attention from other people should not speak value to who you really are. And we have to really teach our minds and understand that we don't need to feel people got to start and understand where healing looks like. A lot of people don't even know where to start of healing because they're so fascinated by the outer world. But it takes time to live your authenticity and grow and figure out who you really are. It's needed. It's really, really needed. And this world will put you in a mindset that is toxic if you don't know how to separate the two. Everything is always going. And a lot of times, to me, this is a distraction. It keeps your mind constantly racing, constantly on autopilot, just constantly going and going. That's why I was, telling someone that earlier, like, you have to be very mindful of what type of content you even put in your mind. You have to even be careful what type of content you're watching because everyone with a platform is not speaking valuable sense. Not everyone with a platform is really teachable content. Some people just have something to say and they just speak it. And then you have people like the younger generation whose minds are not fully developed like that, where they are like, okay, monkey see, monkey do. You think that what someone's uploading is really what they're teaching something really valuable. You want to learn something really, really valuable? You pray. And you also seek within, and then you read. But even when we come to the short reel, people upload certain things and hey, this is what it is. And people talk about certain things and everything people say is not always going to be factual. That's why, when you have to be very cautious on everything in your life. The energy you bring. Because people don't understand what type of energy they're bringing in their home, especially when it comes down to the music. Everything. All of this is a distraction. And it keeps people at a very low vibrational state with this whole false illusion of reality. You gotta learn how to separate. You have to. And you want to, build a foundation of people and genuine grounded connections with people by just going out and about. It's easier to get on social media and to say, hey, this is who I am, or who this is who I. It's easy to do that. And nowadays, people are a lot of people are now waking up and are being more protective of themselves because they know that you have to be very cautious and careful because people are not always genuine, male or female. But be very careful and understand that we are constantly living in a world where people are needing validation. So they're chasing it and they are seeking out some type of approval. And that means that the approval they're seeking out is from the outside. They're obsessed with looking a certain way. They're obsessed with everything and being constantly influenced. And it keeps people very, very stuck. It's keep people quietly in a very rebellious mindset. So let's concentrate and let go of the fake reality. And let's learn to be more connected with self.